Hi there, everybody. How are you guys doing? Everybody in Sonali's book club, all the members know what happens to me every time I have to do a live or do a talk and the palpitations that happen. And you've all been party to the fumbles and the messes that I create, and I have to log off and log on and literally nearly like kind of have a heart attack every time I decide to do something. So this is the time when I'm going to be taking the bull by the horns, as they say. I'm actually talking to you today about a book that is Winning in the Digital Age. This is a book, as soon as I see digital age, I start getting panicky. But this is Winning in the Digital Age, and the author is Nitin Seth. I'm going to take this opportunity today to dig into his brain and understand that should I be palpitating every time digital is mentioned, or is there an easy way to it? So he has written a whole book on this, and I'm hoping to get a few answers from him. So Nitin, welcome to Sonali's book club.
Hello, Sonali. Very nice to be talking to you. And I love your introduction. I love, the way you've introduced. It's like, the most human introduction that I've seen in our show.
Nitin, I have to share this with you. Every time we have something happening, which we had been, and now in these last 2 years, we've all been forced to get tech savvy. There's one of my favorite words, which my son and my husband have told me that, listen, it does not sound cool anymore. Please stop using it, which is technologically challenged. I have always said that I'm technologically challenged, but this pandemic has made me realize that I cannot afford to be technologically challenged. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there, and they don't have to be different generations. Definitely generations matter, and the millennials are also cool and so quick with all the digital. But listen, we are getting there. And now, just to get there in a more cooler way, this is a book that I'm going to try out, read about, and pick your brains on understanding what is happening in this. So can you tell me, what is it? Winning in the digital age. We all want to win, and especially in this digital age. Please tell us more about it.
Yes, so see, we are in the digital age. It's a bit of an obvious statement, but I think it needs, that's the starting point. The way, we lead our lives, the way we consume different products and services. Shopping is no more, going to Shopper Stop. It keeps corner. It is probably going to Amazon.com. The way businesses are run. So every aspect of life now is digital. And this is officially called the digital age. So the World Economic Forum has this. We are in the fourth industrial age, and this age is officially called the digital age. And trillions of dollars are being spent. Trillions of dollars. On digital. Whether it is every possible type of new startup coming up. Or large companies, every company on earth, trying to transform itself and become like a digital company. Business transformation has become equal to digital transformation. No, but the reality is, Sonali, that 70% of these efforts fail. Yeah. Okay. And that is something which has always really bothered me. That has always intrigued me, that you're spending billions, not trillions of dollars. 70% of it is not achieving its objective. What a huge waste. What a great opportunity it is. And if that's failure rate was not 70%, but it was the other way around. It was 30%. 70% was succeeding. What it would mean for for our lives, what it would mean for businesses, and that's why I have written this book. To based on the experiences that I've had, working in McKinsey and then leading transformation for a global firm like Fidelity, and then Flipkart, which was right at the cutting edge of chaos. And then, over the last couple of years here in the US, serving, working with some of the largest companies, I think it has given me a unique perspective on this digital age. Why is that failure happening, and what do you need to do differently? And that's why I've written this book.
So, as the back of the book says, Nitin has a unique combination of experiences as a global leader, entrepreneur, and management consultant. He is the CEO of Incedo Inc., a technology services firm focused on digital transformation, prior to Incedo, he has been COO of Flipkart, India's largest e-commerce company. And there is a lot more. But I think for me, also knowing Flipkart, we can stop at that and understand that when, to my members, I would like to say that when someone like this, like Nitin, is talking about digital age and the transformation and winning in digital age, we definitely should be sitting up and listening because he knows what he is saying. His experience says that. So that is what makes this book very, very interesting. And that is what makes this book interesting for me to bring on the book club and to kind of start a dive into it. Tell me, authoring a book is a major product. Like it's a big project, so to say. Putting this product out is not an easy thing. You're doing what you're doing. What made you what prompted you to write this?
See, I think there's some of us who like to give gyan. So I think and as a fellow parent, I'm sure you're also you end up giving gyan, right? So so I think right from my college days, I went to IIT Delhi, and I think I was always in the habit of giving gyan. So there's something you can't help. So then I've been writing. See, anything writing a book, it doesn't happen overnight, because it's like a big project. So I've been writing a blog, and I very humbly called it Nitin's Fundas. Fundas meaning giving can. I've been writing it for 10 years. So so there was a content that got built up. And then COVID was really this amazing opportunity. While COVID has been such a disaster in so many ways, but every disaster also has a silver lining. And for me, it was that I was at home. Otherwise, I traveled like 3 to 4 days a week.
Okay.
I was at home and I took a couple of months and just kind of wrote it. So I must really thank COVID, which gave me, I always had the intent to capture my learnings, and this was the topic I felt very strongly about. But really, thanks to COVID, that this book happened.
So, who is your target audience?
See, my target audience are really the young Indians, the young professionals.
Okay, I like to call the young Indian.
Absolutely. See, I think this whole notion of digital age and winning in the digital age is relevant across very many different segments. It is relevant for a business leader who's looking to transform his or her business. It's for a young professional who's looking to do a startup. But I think the really what I want to reach out to is the college going, somebody who's an engineering college or MBA or just is a graduate who's beginning to start his or her life, professional life. See, when I was younger, I read this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And it really impacted me. It really impacted me. I think it gave me a certain framework for what to focus on. And now the point about digital age is that it's very different. And we can talk more about how it is. It's very different, and you need a new set of rules. You need a new set of rules.
You are talking in the book, you do talk about the change and the disruption that the technology brings. And COVID-19, like you said, it's been a disastrous thing for some people. Some people have found silver lining in it. You've been one of those who's found silver lining in it. So technology, so to say, is a change, a disruptor. We've all been feeling it without the COVID-19 happening also. But now with COVID-19, how do you think this environment has changed?
With COVID, Sonali, what has happened is that the technology shift or the role of technology, it is no more a question. It's no more a question. You can't sit on the fence anymore. It has become very decisive. Yeah.
Right.
Because
accelerate, you would say.
Yeah. So before COVID, there was a question about, can this be done digitally, or we need like that physical, whether it's an office or a shop or whatever interaction. See, you still need that, of course, but how much you can do virtually, remotely, digitally. COVID just brought it home, so starkly Yeah. So, the clients that I work with, and these are the largest companies in the world, the largest banks, telecom companies, healthcare companies. The digital targets they had for the next 3 to 5 years, they achieved that in 9 to 12 months. Yeah, because just the demand for digital just soared. Yeah. So whatever question marks were there on the business model or technology investments, I think today the question is not about the why or the what. Yeah. The why and what questions have, COVID has answered those for us. The questions are a lot more around the how. How do you do this change, not whether the change is needed or not.
It's not a could we say it's not like a luxury or an option anymore? It's become a necessity now because of COVID. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You talk about India emerging as the superpower, the digital superpower, of the digital age. So we would all love to believe that, but do you really think it is a possibility?
I absolutely think it's a possibility. Absolutely, very strongly believe so. See, if you look at, again, I like to look at history because history gives us.
To interrupt you on this, let me rephrase it. Do you think it's a possibility because India has always had IT professionals and everything and all of that sort of a zone? There's no doubt about the brain that we have. But this kind of brain has always gone to other countries. And here we have China, which is also like, huge power, progressing so much, so many things happening. So do you think we can really be the superpower in digital age?
We have so much brain power in quantity and quality. We can power that. We can go to every country in the world. We can power each of those countries, and we still will have so much left to power India to a very different level. So,
I love that hearing what you're saying, but how do you think India can do that? I mean, how do we harness that power? Because we don't seem to be harnessing it.
I think there is a lot happening, Sonali. I see the thing with change is that every day you don't think it's different, but then it kind of springs up on you. So let me just give me 30 seconds and I explain it very simply. The thing with digital is that it democratizes access to knowledge and to technology.
But look at the COVID-19 situation, the ratio between in education, the difference has become even bigger, even more difficult because, our smaller towns, villages, it's chaos where education is concerned because of COVID.
So just listen to just please hear me out. Okay, so now with digital, now whether you are in Navsari in Gujarat or Jind in Haryana or you are in Kurnool or wherever you are, you have access to the best content. You can go on to, you get access content from Harvard Business School if you wanted to, or from any educational content in the world is now available. It is there is a democratization of content. There's a reason why Byju's or education technology companies are valued what they're valued at. Because what is the problem is that suddenly the 500 million people, Indians, below the age of 30, they have access to all of this information and knowledge, which was not the case earlier. Now, when you look at the education system, Sonali, you're absolutely right. See, the variation in the Indian education system is huge. When you look at the IITs versus the rest, or the IIMs versus the rest, and so on. But when you're talking about online education, that same content is now available to anybody. And that's a huge empowerment for our young Indians. I very strongly believe that this whole digital is going to enable an entrepreneurial revolution. Because also in digital, the entry barrier or cost of doing a startup really comes down. And that revolution is going to happen from the small towns of India. Okay, it's like the Indian cricket team. 10 years back, it was all Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai. But look at the Indian cricket team now. It is all from the small towns, because they got the access, they got empowered. Now, similarly, because of online, that education access will go down and it will become easier for them to do things. So that is where I really believe, that's my view, where the real push for India is going to come from.
You've actually made me feel better about it. But one thing, because for me, the one thing that I've been seeing with a lot of foundations, the work that we do, because of no access to, say, a tablet or a laptop or a phone or internet for that matter, with the electricity not being there, the divide between, we always had a huge divide, but that divide between children who can, at least there were some schools that were happening that right now in COVID, all those schools are literally nearly shut. And, that gap has become a little larger is what I was thinking. I never really thought of what you were saying, that, yes, while I'm looking at it from this point of view, there's another point of view where really intelligent children, or like somebody like me, who could never dream of going in for further education, who wanted to, but could never, my parents could not have sent me. So today, in this day and age, I could do it online. And it wouldn't be, the cost effectiveness would help me do a lot more of the higher education than it would have otherwise. So yet again, thank you for pointing out the glass is half full and not empty.
And I want to share a factoid with you, if you allow me, which will bring out the great opportunity and the challenge of India. Okay, that 800 million Indians own mobile phones.
Right.
Yeah, so they can access internet, which is that's a very, very big population, but less than that have access to sanitation. Yeah. So which brings out the challenge that you were talking about. If you look at our physical infrastructure, we are hugely challenged. But digital, Sonali, is an opportunity to leapfrog. More people have access to mobile phones than have access to proper sanitation. It's something to cry about at one level, but it's something which also creates a tremendous opportunity, because anybody who's got a mobile phone can access internet, and through internet they can access all the knowledge in the world. Yeah. So that's the dichotomy of India.
So let's just hope and pray, and because what you're talking about is what would have probably taken in our country and the population that we have generations to get to the point. Hopefully, with this digital age, we will cut that.
We can leapfrog.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, okay, so if that is done and harnessed correctly, we do have a chance of being the superpower. Great news. Good to hear that, especially when you hear what is happening in our neighborhood. It can be very, very, it can pull you down. So suddenly, thank you for kind of showing me the sunshine in this. But yeah. So, there's a piece of advice that you shared with the aspiring entrepreneurs on the value of relationships in life. It is one of my favorite topics, because what I went through in 2018, I realized that my wealth was definitely my health, and my relationships. Health I was losing at that point of time. So my true wealth at that point, I realized, was relationships. So could you share some examples on how building and nurturing relationships has played an important role in your journey?
Something, when you're younger, you don't fully appreciate. So, when I started my career in 96 in McKinsey, the managing partner of the India office then said that, look, there are only two ways, two paths to success. And one is that you know something, and the second is that you know someone. And then I felt, this sounds like cheating, because of course it is about knowing something. Yeah. But really, over a period of time, I've realized that the knowing someone is so important. We are not, as human beings, we're not solitary reapers. We are social animals. We like to connect.
Someone in the nepotism kind of a way.
No. It is not about. See, that's how I first heard it. That it felt like nepotism to me. But it is not about nepotism. It is just about, see, as human beings, when we interact with somebody, trust is extremely important. And business, the foundation of business is trust. Yeah, and how does trust get established? Trust gets established through a certain relationship. So if there is no relationship, there is no business. It's not nepotism. Yeah, and I just, if I look at my own life, and so I went to engineering college in IIT Delhi, and and I was the sports secretary and house secretary. So my main task was waking up people at 5 in the morning and making them jog. Yeah, because we wanted to train everybody, put a danda so that we win the sports championship. Yeah, very small thing now in the context of life, but because of those interactions and the relationships that I built, those are the most important relationships in my life today. Both in my business life and personal life. I'm just giving a small example, and I think the thing about
agree with you, because same here, didn't come from a film family, completely an outsider. And every time that this whole nepotism topic comes up, and I don't know how to explain this, but when we bring this up and we're talking about relationships, this is something I definitely want to share with my book club members also. Relationships are what you would call the long, hard road. It's not that easy route, because it takes time to build relationships. There's no shortcut in that. And once you build them, and that's what you can, it's a solid foundation on which your building can stand. And for me, when I came into film industry, completely not knowing where I was from, and the relationships that I built, and because there was a good work ethic, and because there was a relationship, do you know that I must have had about 2 films that must have been hit in my entire career? But I just kept getting work always, and with all the top actors, was because I had great work ethic. They enjoyed working with me, so they kept coming back to me and giving me work. And that, I think, there are enough people who have been with me who you couldn't even recognize or don't even know, because in my line, being recognized, knowing that is the currency. So that is where relationships come into play, and I completely agree that has what has helped my business also. And so this was a point when you brought that up, was very, very personal, and through my health challenges, that was another thing that was underlined. It was my relationships that really saw me through. So really lovely point on that. So both of us have Gen Z kids, so to say, and so they are obviously technologically savvy. And every time you ask a question, like today when I said that I needed to measure something, and my son is like, "What are you using tape for? Just take that app and hold your phone, and you'll get all the measurements, click it and send it." And I'm like, "Really?" And he did that when I was like, "Oh my God, this is so easy!" And so next I took it, and I could not operate it. I could not use that app. And then by then my son had left, and I was like, "Can you tell me?" I said, "You know what? Forget it. Let me use the tape. Please come back and teach." But life has become so much more simpler. So what is it that what is the advice that you have for this generation? They have so many things that come easy. Information is at the tip of their fingertips. Everything is so quick. What do you think is your advice for them, for life in general, for their career? What can I say to my son?
There are so many things you can talk to your children, but the one thing I feel strongly is that his advice would be to go slow and think longer term. So it is, the world we are in is a very complex world, yeah, and it's a world of paradoxes. So when I talk to older people or I talk to large companies, I always talk about speed, the importance of moving with speed. But when I talk with young people, especially young people in India, my worry is that, because the digital age is always about is about instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
There is this very, very, this let's, get rich quick, do it very quickly kind of a thing which is happening, which is what, I think if there is, one challenge I see with the young generation, why, one of the reasons why India may not be able to realize the superpower kind of opportunity is that we may end up plucking the fruits before they are ripe. Yeah. When I look at the startup ecosystem in India and here in the US, see, there is absolutely no difference in the competence and the intelligence of of the two ecosystems. If anything, the entrepreneurs in India, I think, are way smarter. But there is still this kind of, I don't know whether it is insecurity, whether it is there is too much happening and it's kind of you feel that, oh, I just want to grab it now. But I definitely, the key difference I see is that in the US, in Silicon Valley, I still see more of a long-term orientation of, Shanti say to play it out, yeah, step by step. Whereas in India, everybody feels, sorry?
I said maybe our generation will get there. I think because for us and our young people, while you're talking, the visual for me was also because we come from so much of deprivation that when you get it, you just want to grab it, and when you've come from a certain amount of security, then you say, "Oh, let me hang in there and let me wait for this."
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's spot on. That's my assessment as well. That see, all of our generation generally came from that. You said deprivation, yeah, and that kind of and then we grew into. We were part of that. Our growing up also coincided with affluence, yeah. So from deprivation we came to affluence, but some of those initial imprints are very deeply seated, right, and which also maybe then flow through to our expectations from the next generation. Yeah, and they feel, oh, it's all there, and because now we are in the era of abundance, there is so much out there that I want to grab it. I want to grab it quickly, whereas when a more developed society or a developed economy, you have less of that insecurity, and you have this thing of playing it out. So I think that would be one key thing which I feel is very important for our younger generation.
Tell me, you've always played so many important roles in leadership positions. Can it be taught, or is it genetic?
I think it is. I think it is neither, in a sense that my view is, Sonali, that all of us have a leader inside us. Yeah, it's an inherent, it's an innate quality that we have. The question is that what enables us to express it. Yeah. So
what do you think do you think from what you've gone through and the kids that you have? So you say everybody has the leader in them. So what is it? Is it we as parents not letting them fly enough? Are we reining them in too much? What is it that
possibly? I think so. I think so. So if see, leadership is something which comes from within. There is a situation, and that situation allows the leader to come out. Yeah. So I think I think it is about giving the space to children to explore different things, and they will find something where there is resonance, where the frequency of that situation and who they are, it matches, and then the leader comes out. Yeah.
So there are two ways to teach swimming. One would be that you get a tutor and you handhold your child through it, and one is throw him in or her in a deep end. What do you think brings out the leadership quality?
I think certainly the second one does it. It will spark it.
No, it will spark. Mother doesn't like hearing that at all. You want to hold on to my child, and you're telling me throw him into the deep end. Not fair.
Yeah, you have to throw. Because leader. It's like it's like the whole caterpillar thing, that you have this thick shell, yeah, and you need that something which will break the shell, and then it comes out. I think that's what leadership is about, and for some it's like an external event, which forces, it could be, sometimes it can be a tragedy, or it can be something, which forces the breaking of that shell, and then the thing comes out. For others, it can be the right situation, the right nurturing, but it is, everybody has, what is leadership? Leadership is taking that initiative. It is that spark. It is that energy. That is innate. Sorry?
Taking the onus, would you say that's what?
Yeah, it is taking ownership. Absolutely. It is taking that, it is being proactive. So that is there inside all of us. Now, the thing is, and I have seen that in my own life, and I used to be like a very shy kid growing up when I was growing up and in school. Very shy. Somebody, if a guest would come home, I would hide and say, I have a stomach ache, so that I don't have to go and see them. But the good thing was that, I used to play basketball. I became a half decent player. I went to IIT. where you don't really have sports people, but because I've been playing basketball, it was something which became like a opportunity for me. I started doing well in that, and that confidence then went on to so many different aspects of my life. So you need that one spark, which brings that energy and that thing outside. Once it comes, it's like a virtuous cycle. It flows to many other aspects of your life.
So you would say what it takes is breaking of the shell, which is basically growing up. The faster you kind of grow up, yeah, that's a hard one. And like I said, as a mother, I'm really totally applying it to myself and seeing I need to let go and I need to take a step back. Not a good
You're
thought.
talking of books,
Let's not talk about leadership roles anymore for some time. Let me hang on to my son for a little while more and then I'll let him go. Tell me, on a lighter note, how do you plan your day? What is it like? I mean, you do so many things and you've written a book and obviously there's so much that you're doing. How do you achieve it?
See, on my time, I'm actually very planned. I'm very planned. And I kind of, I'm quite maniacal about managing my schedule and my calendar. See, over 25 years, what I've learned is that if I shift my planning horizon from the day to a week, I can be a lot more effective. Yeah.
Okay.
So when you plan for the day and you're looking at, okay, this is my to-do list. See, what happens is that tasks which are more urgent, is really what you prioritize. But for effectiveness, and this is again coming from Stephen Covey's book, tasks which are important but not urgent tend to be most important. Yeah. Now, how do you get to tasks which are important, not urgent? If you take a slightly longer time horizon, so then you can look ahead. It's not just what I need to do tomorrow.
This example so that I mean, could you just give us an example on it?
So look, I have like my diary in front of me. Okay, in this diary, every Sunday night I do my weekly priorities.
Okay.
Yeah, and then every day I convert that. This is my daily thing. I convert that into a daily to-do list. Yeah, so that weekly priorities come, you can see they come into my daily to-do list in like 4 boxes. Okay.
Right.
So, and this gets translated into my calendar. Yeah. And
what I lay terms is basically what you're saying is if I have a weekly goal or weekly priorities, as you say, then I'm not going to be disheartened that, I didn't finish this or kill myself or I need to do this.
Absolutely.
And attention away from what actually needs to be done because you're actually only like thinking, oh my God, but I haven't done that. Oh my God, but I haven't done that. And in the end, not achieving anything. So what happens because of that is I'm saying, hey, that's okay. Today I didn't get the time, but tomorrow, you know what? I have the week to finish it. So tomorrow I'm going to get up earlier and finish this first and then do the rest. Get it? I think it's a great idea. Fantastic tool. Takes the pressure. Good one.
See, the planning is less about technology because often you think, okay, I will use this app or this gadget and I'll be able to plan better. No, it never works that way. I have tried so many different gadgets over past so many different years, and it can add complexity because you get caught in it. I think the key thing is about being clear on what you want to do, and to be clear, you have to move yourself back from the day because when it is just the day, you will over-index, you will prioritize on just what is urgent.
I would say get an overview to the day.
Get a bird's eye view, yeah.
So how do you think what I wanted to ask you also was that how do you think the relationships have changed post-pandemic? Relationships are so important in your book. Post-pandemic, how have they changed, do you think? Because everybody's from home,
It's still playing out. Still playing out, Sonali. I think at one level, relationships have, or conversations have become more transactional. So like, I run a company and normally, I'm in office, I'm walking around, in between meetings, I'm meeting people, I go to the desk, I pat them on the back. And I'm constantly chatting with them, and hopefully they feel energized. I certainly feel energized because of that. Yeah, but because of all of those, there is a relationship that gets built. Yeah. Now, what happens is that 80% of your interactions are over Zoom calls. Yeah, and it becomes more transactional. You start with your what you need to discuss, and you finish with it.
Do you think
That
more difficult to build relationships in this digital age, basically, with digital, from this
Yeah,
work
absolutely,
from home?
absolutely. I feel it's more. It has new relationships are more difficult to build new relationships because new relationships need a lot of those accidents. You can't. The relationships are not something you can totally script. They need to be free flowing. It's those happy accidents. And that's why some relationships happen, some don't happen. Yeah. So digital doesn't allow those happy accidents to happen. So that is a problem.
How do
But
you think that's sorry. How do you think that's affecting the mental health of your employees and
it's a
in
huge
work
issue.
environment? How is it affecting the mental health?
I think it is bringing a lot of fatigue. I think it's bringing a lot of fatigue. There is a lot of mental fatigue. So it's interesting, when the entire remote working started, we were very worried about productivity and what our clients are going to say. And then 6 months into it, we found that the productivity was higher. The clients were very happy. So I think generally all of us, especially in India, I run, have teams in India, teams in the US. I think teams in India did a fantastic job in being productive from home. But now that we are 18 months into the pandemic, I think the mental health is a very big issue. Is a very big issue which is not talked about enough, or where there are not
So
enough
what
mechanisms.
are you doing for your team, so to say, where mental health is concerned?
See, we have we have introduced. There were like we ran for a couple of months, and we were running like a daily yoga and meditation session because
Was
we
it
felt that. Sorry.
was it popular?
Not as much as I had hoped for.
What is
So so I was a little, because I feel that that's a great way of, energizing yourself, and, pranayam and meditation is such a great way of centering yourself. But I was a little disappointed. We have 2,000 plus employees in India, and we opened it up for their families as well. But, so, it should have been 4,000 5,000 people, but not more than 100 joining every day.
When you say yoga, meditation, and all that, it takes a lot of discipline in that sense to want to do it. So unless it's you have been called to it and you want to do it, and it's not something which is instant, and you're going to see the result only after a certain point, it's a little difficult to get people to kind of do this as a mental health thing, because it's not. There's no quick fix in it in the yoga and pranayama. There are no doubt about the benefits that they have. What I feel, and maybe you're already doing that, but sometimes if there's some sort of a prelude to it, and you can lead them into the yoga and pranayams, meditation and all of that, that kind of sets the tone better. It just starts feeling very heavy, because I find that a lot, not just with my child or with but even with my friends, or where you see that they need the help, and you feel that, but it is so obvious you need to do this, but it's very difficult to do it. I also feel that there are times when it saw me through a lot of my tough times, but it's very easy for me the moment I'm in a hurry to fall back into old patterns and give up doing this. So
You're
is there
spot on, Sonali.
else that can be done other than just the yoga and the meditation
So
to the final goal?
no, you're spot on. I think that how do you get people into it is the tough problem. Is the very tough problem. So see, when offices were on, we were doing these art of living camps in our offices and get people to kind of learn it physically, so that but it became more difficult to do that once COVID happened. So see,
So if you're talking about art of living and they're coming and doing it, it's because there's that sense of community. And when
yeah.
you're meeting and you're doing something together. So that is one thing that's a challenge of digital age, which is that sense of community. I mean, everybody thinks, oh, I have this community online, but that kind of strength, that kind of bonds, are they any different in digital age from when it was not a digital age? Like you just pointed this out. That is going to be a big problem. How are we?
There are pros and cons. See, there are pros and cons. So I'll give you two different perspectives, where it's a challenge and where it's a plus. So definitely in building that bond and the community, that relationship, I think digital is a challenge, But it also enables you to reach out and build a larger community. Let me give you an example. Every year, end of the year, I do a strategy offsite. Get senior people together and kind of spend like a couple of days at some resort and kind of reflect on the year, plan for the next year. COVID, December 2020, we could not have done that. We said, okay, let's do it on Zoom. But if you're doing it on Zoom, then why only 10 people in the company? Why don't we invite 50 people in the company?
Right.
Yeah, they can contribute. Then we said, okay, why 50? Why not 2,500 in the company?
Right.
Yeah. So, we ran a 5-day strategy workshop, where we invited all of our 2,500 employees across the world to join. Yeah. And so that was quite unique. Which digital enabled us to have that conversation. Digital enabled, even a young employee to get visibility into the strategy discussions for the company, which otherwise would have been impossible. Yeah. So it is. It works both ways, right? And I think as the world normalizes, I think it is, to my mind, it is certainly about like a hybrid model, or in business we call it omni-channel, where it's not either or. It is that there is so much value to the human interaction, which you don't want to lose that. At the same time, digital can enable a lot of things which earlier were not possible. And it is about how do you find the right balance of it.
So you talk about balance over here. You talk about spiritual balance in your book. You mentioned Art of Living Foundation. You mentioned yoga, meditation. There's definitely a lot. I mean, I can see that this has a lot of impact on your life. And would I be right in saying that service is something which has a huge impact on your life? Would I be right if I say that?
Absolutely.
So could you elaborate a bit more on it? Because a lot of times the anxiety, the stress, and I have realized that the best way to kind of deal with it, and with all these changes that are happening, balance, like you said, and service. Service can give you a lot of joy. And a lot of times we realize that mindfulness and the joy is what is a lot of times missing. And that is one way we could add to it. So could you kind of fill us in a little more and give us your idea about the spiritual balance, about service?
Yeah. Two aspects, Sonali, that I would like to call out. See, first is that, in this digital world in particular, there is so much noise. Yeah, there is so much noise all around us that you can go crazy.
Yeah.
You can go crazy dealing with all of this noise. So you need a quiet place.
Right.
You need a quiet place, and the quiet place is not outside. The quiet place is inside you. Yeah. So, and that to me is spirituality. Spirituality to me is the process of going within yourself. Yeah. So, and that, instead of being always in the world here, you are going inside and you can see, everything. You can see the entire world, and you have a sense of peace, you have a sense of alignment, you have a sense of abundance. And that to me is spirituality. And that's why I do it. And I've been following, I've been doing meditation for 35 years. That because it gives me that sense of quiet and calmness and anchors me. When you go inside yourself, then you also start understanding this question of who you are, or this question of self. Yeah. And then you realize that the self is, it's an artificially created boundary. Okay. It's a we are all connected, and you feel it very naturally. It happens. So when that happens, service happens very naturally. That it It's not just about this ego or the way I've defined I, me, myself. It is, we are all connected, and I have to contribute, because that is the dharma, that is the nature of life. Yeah. And when you do that, it suddenly releases the pressure, because when the pressure happens, because when you feel you're trying to prove something for yourself, or so when you release that it is not about proving something, or it's about me, but I'm trying to contribute, pressure goes away, and I think you are able to flow a lot more naturally.
Oh, very, very, very well said and very beautifully put. Uh, so I would say that, this has been a very, very enlightening conversation for me, because here it is, we were talking about digital age. And what I realized from the conversation that we have had is that we might be talking about the digital age and winning in digital age. But what you have gone back to is something that over generations and over eons hasn't changed. And that is, you win when you take people with you. There's nothing solo, and there is nothing just about yourself. It is about the love, it is about the balance. And how much ever the world might change, there are certain things that are ingrained with us, are in our DNA, are in our genetics. Those are the learnings we can never give up, and those are the learnings that will carry us through. And for someone like me who gets a little frightened of this quick, very, very quick change, and I'm like, what is going to happen? This is a very reassuring thing to know, that how much ever things might change, like you said, it can be agricultural age, industrial age, today digital age. But there are certain values, certain principles, certain truths that have remained and will always remain. And I think as long as we look at that, all this noise, all this fear can be calmed down. Nitin Seth, thank you so much for coming on my book club, sharing this book with us. And to my members, here it is, Winning in the Digital Age. Definitely something we must look at, must read, and understand what is coming up for us. How is our country going to shape up? What can we do to shape it well? So here it is, Winning in the Digital Age. Nitin Seth, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sonali. Pleasure talking to you.